Welcome to the Voices for Voices podcast, sponsored by Redwood Living. Thank you for joining us today. I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, host and humanitarian. You can learn more about Voices for Voices on our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and our website, voicesforvoices.org. Voices for Voices is a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization that survives solely on donations. So if you're able to, please consider heading over to voicesforvoices.org to help us continue our mission and the goal and dream to help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. Or you can send a donation to the mailing address of Voices for Voices at 2388 Beckett Circle, Stowe, Ohio 44224. Are you looking for a volunteer opportunity? Please reach out to us today via email at president@voicesforvoices.org if you are or know somebody who is. I founded Voices for Voices to provide a platform for folks to share their stories with others as we work to break the stigma around mental health, accessibility, and disabilities, helping people get the help that they need, while also helping them prepare or transition into the workforce with the Voices for Voices Career Center, where we connect talent with opportunity for both job seekers and employers, from coast to coast and in every industry and job level. At last count this morning, we were at north of 10,000 jobs being posted on the Voices for Voices Career Center. So go ahead and check that out and be sure to share that with others who may have an interest in that. We're grateful today, in today's episode, to be joined by Matt Oakes, Business Development Executive at Legends Recovery. Matt, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We were able to meet during a site visit just last week, so we're real grateful to be able to have you in studio to talk about your experience, your story, and Legends Recovery. Do you want to just get into kind of maybe the beginning of when things for you started to take maybe a downturn, and then we can work up to the high points?
Yeah, so I'm a person in long-term recovery. I've not found it necessary to use a drink or a drug since May 22nd, 2019. Truly grateful for that day. My life, man, when it started out, I grew up in a small town in southeast Kentucky, if you ain't picking that up yet. Normal childhood, I guess, is if your dad not being around, your mom doing the best she can to raise you and another kid is normal. But it felt real normal to me. I didn't have any problems. I played sports. I'd done really well not really well in school. I'd done okay in school. Yeah. And I always wanted to be the funny kid. Didn't know that would come back one day to be the sword to cut me to shreds, trying to be the standout funny guy. So life went on, and I never was comfortable with my mom having another guy around. It just bothered me. I wanted to be the man that I wasn't able to be. I was a 6-7-year-old kid, but I felt like I was the man of the house. So life went on, and my mom met a guy, and I've ran off probably 10 guys. They didn't want a bad kid around. So she finally meets this guy, and he was willing to deal with me, man. And how, I don't know. Like it was a bad day for him. But he ended up marrying my mom, and he was a successful business owner, and we came from nothing. We had nothing at all, and but we got by. So it kind of put me into a different lifestyle with him, and we still butted heads forever. But it that's kind of where while looking back now, I can see that's where I was attention seeking. Like, I probably qualified for a 12-step program way before I was ever took the first drink, because I needed that attention. I needed more. And I remember the very first time I drank alcohol. Neither my mom wasn't a drinker, he wasn't a drinker, but for whatever reason, there was a case of Miller Lite in his trunk, hot. It had been there for however long. And me and my stepbrother, we opened one up and drank it, and it was horrible. Yeah. The taste was just how anybody could drink that, I never could guess. And I'll never forget that day. And I remember the neighborhood I lived in, I would tell the kids, like, yeah, I drank a beer. And you know, that attention that I was getting from that was what I was missing. Like, that was it. I had arrived. And, you know, life didn't go straight, you know, down a bad path at that point. You know, I was 10, 11 years old and got into smoking pot, you know, typical story. And again, it wasn't something I was crazy about. I didn't like the feeling. I didn't like the effect. I didn't like the taste, but I loved the attention that it brought. I wanted to be the guy that stood out. I didn't want to put in the work, but I wanted the attention. You know, there was kids that was super smart in school, and they got attention, but they put in the work to become super smart, and I just wasn't willing to do that. So life kind of, it took off from there. You know, like 7th grade, I got caught with some pills at school. And like I said, I was a great kid. Like, it wasn't like I stayed in trouble, but when I done stuff wrong, I got caught.
Okay.
And so I got caught with these pills, got kicked out of 7th grade. My mom was just distraught. She didn't know what she had done wrong. She'd raised me the best she could. And where I'm from, what does it say, spare the rod, spoil the child. That was in effect there. Like, that, my parents would beat you to death. So she thought maybe she'd done something wrong, that she had was too hard on me, wasn't hard enough on me. And all it was I was craving this attention that was deeper than I knew what it was. You know, this father figure that I wasn't willing to let anyone in to be is something that I was craving, that I needed, and didn't even know I needed it. And so, you know, it kind of slowed down after that because you know, I was just getting so much trouble. It just wasn't worth it anymore at that point. And so I'd kind of occasionally, you know, I'd occasionally drink at parties, and it wasn't a problem. It never, you know, took me to a bad place. And then I got married, and would, you know, still kind of have a beer or two after work. Wasn't no big deal. And you know, that was as far as it would go. And then I got a divorce. Well, my wife was kind of like my mom. She was very strict, one of those people. And so I guess I was kind of nervous to do anything other than that around either one of those two. So I got divorced from her, and it was just like this sense of freedom that I didn't have anyone like a chaperone anymore. And so I experimented. I was at a bar, and I was drinking with a friend, and like I said, I've always liked that spotlight, that attention of being that guy. And the guy said, "Have you ever tried cocaine?" And I can't say no, you know, I can't be that guy. And I was like, "Yeah, I love it." I'd never even seen it before. And so he ends up, you know, going to get some cocaine, and that's whenever the spiral kind of started. And it still wasn't out of control at this point. It was still fun. We were partying. We could party longer. No trouble had came at this point, really. And then I got introduced to Oxycontin. And it was still kind of a recreational thing. It wasn't something that I was crazy about. The cocaine and the drinking, I fell in love with that. But the Oxycontin, it was just something to do for whatever reason. And I remember the first time that I tried to quit, and my body was just in pain, you know, and I felt this feeling that I was like, man, I feel like I have freaking cancer. Like, something's wrong with me. And my buddy said, "You're dope sick." And I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I'm not even done no drugs in a long." He's like, "You've been doing those pills like crazy." He's like, "Try it, go get one, try it, and see if it helps." And it did. And at that moment, I was like, man, I better leave those alone. But little did I know, this had a hold of me that like nothing ever had. Like it just took something and just like filled it inside of me, and I had no idea that was, you know, it was doing that. And so that progressed to me. This is when all the pill clinics were going on in Florida. Okay. You know, the pain clinics, all that was going on. So I found myself that if you sell drugs, you always have friends. That's it. You always have you're the party. The people are there. They're going to stay there until the drugs are gone. So I never wanted to run out of drugs. So I started going back and forth to Florida, and you know, going to the pain clinics, taking people to the pain clinics, getting their pills, blah blah blah. And then I started getting them in the mail. You know, it was spiraling so fast that I didn't know what to do. And it wasn't like I was stealing for the drugs, or I wasn't going without. I was doing better than I'd ever done. You know, I was making a lot of money, but I was feeding this habit that I didn't know one day would just destroy everything about me. And so it progressed into, you know, I was getting pills shipped to me through the mail for a couple years. Well, one day I'd got a package supposed to be delivered 2 days before Christmas. FedEx calls me and says that, FedEx calls and said that my package is at the headquarters because they couldn't find my address due to a new blah, blah, blah. Oh. So I go over there to pick up this package. And when I pull into the parking lot, my intuition tells me, leave. There's something not right about this place. And I look around the parking lot and I see like 7 Dodge Durangos that doesn't have snow on them. The same color. All the other cars were covered in snow except for these 7 identical cars. And I was like, maybe it's not that. Maybe they all drive Durangos. Yeah. So I go inside and the girl's trying to shake her head no, like you need to leave. Still, the drugs have control at this point. You know, there was no telling me any different. And she's over there like nodding her head to leave. And the guy comes out of the back room and he asks for my ID. And I give it to him, everything's smooth, and I get in the car and I drive about 2 miles down the road and I'm swarmed by the FBI.
Oh my gosh.
And so at this point, my stomach drops, I don't know what to do. The girl that I was with, you know, I have her kid in the back seat. And so, you know, being the smart thinker I am, I try to, come up with a real quick solution. Well, like I said, I was going to the doctors down there and back and forth, so I always had a prescription that was valid. I was prescribed these pills. And so I've, got this plan in my head. I'm good. So in Kentucky's the Commonwealth, down there. So if they come after you down there, they've got you. But for whatever reason, I can talk myself almost out of this, I think, and I tell the cops, look, here's my prescription. I left my prescription in Florida. My friend mailed it to me. Here's how many pills are in here. And by the grace of God, there was close to that many pills in there. Wow. And so they held me there and questioned me for a few hours. They called her. She came and got the kid. And at that point right there, I was like, what am I doing? Like, where is my life going? And so I thought, I got away with it. They let me go. Oh. And little did I know they were waiting for me to build my own case. Oh. And so I ended up getting in some more trouble, caught another charge down in Tennessee, drug related, and ended up doing 3 years down in Tennessee, incarcerated in Tennessee. And that was the first time I'd ever been arrested. It blew my whole family away, the charges. It was insane. And so I ended up thinking that all that was over with because I was down there for 3 years, never heard anything. I get out and I'm out for about 4 months, and my mom calls me and says the FBI just left my house. They're looking for you.
Wow.
And I was like, are you kidding me? This has been like 5 years.
Yeah.
And so in the state of Kentucky, the FBI has 5 years to indict you. The state, there is no statute of limitations. They can indict you at any time. Well, at 5 years, the feds had to turn the case over to the state so they can indict me. So they came back after me after 5 years. And I called another, they gave me trafficking, controlled substance. So I went back to in Kentucky. I was locked up for almost 5 years. I just couldn't I'd get out, I'd made parole after like 2.5, 3 years, was out for a little bit, went right back. And then, but I had every intention in me to stop using drugs. Like I went to this SAT program, substance abuse program inside incarceration. If you got a prison sentence, you can go to this program, 6 months. I, done great in there and had no intentions on ever doing drugs again. I get out, I go to a halfway house, which the halfway house was perfect for me, low rent. My parents had finally given up on me. I wasn't allowed to around Christmas, holidays. That was a no-go for me. Me and my stepdad hadn't talked for 5, 6 years. And then he's actually a cop, or was. So I go to this halfway house, and I'm doing great there, and I feel like I can outsmart the program. I go to AA meetings. I tell them I've got 2 years sober, which I didn't. I was using the entire time I was in there. And I get out and I'm lying about being sober. I'm trying to outsmart the director in this program, and I end up relapsing. And it didn't take long. Of course, I took this girl hostage. That's what I called my girlfriends back then, was hostage, because it was no relationship at all. I would just talk you into doing horrible things. And so me and this girl, we end up moving in together. We get an apartment, get kicked out of the apartment. I'm homeless at this point. I don't even know anybody at this town that I'm living in. I'm just so happy I found some people that would let me stay on their couch, and it was just, then I couldn't. I ended up living in a tent out in the woods for about 3 months. But it was just like, I was so far deep into this drug habit. I'd started doing crystal meth, and it took me to a whole nother level of lows. Like, I was okay with being homeless, living in a tent. I was okay with doing almost 10 years in prison, in and out of jails, rehabs. Like, I was okay with that. Like, it was just, I got so comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And it's just disturbing to look back today, like, man, you were homeless, dude, living in a tent, and you would invite people over. You know what I mean? I would invite people over to my tent, like, come hang out at my house. And like, it's mind-boggling now to think that was okay. Like, and people would come. They'd just sit there on my air mattress. We'd sit around and do drugs. and it was so acceptable that it's just disturbing. And so I ended up, homeless again, and I'm at a guy's house, and just so happened the cops show up, and there I am. And there's drugs there. And of course, I get the blame for everything. And they took 6 of us to jail, and everybody's getting out, but me and the guy that owns the house. And they ended up coming at me with some crazy deals, and I would turn them down, and they would put me off for another year. So I sat in jail for a little over a year fighting this case, and they ended up giving me 3 years probation. And this time, man, I'm thinking, like, I'm really done. I'm good. I'm not going to use drugs. And this guy comes in jail like 3 days before I go to court and to get, the probation, whatever. And he brings drugs in the jail. And I could not say no. Oh. I could not look him in the eye. He's like, you want some of this? And the first thought came straight to my mouth. Yeah, sure, absolutely. And that was May 21st. And my mom's birthday is on May 22nd. And so that night I was just, being an idiot. And all I could think about was, what if they drug test me before I go? Oh. I'm screwed. Yeah. And so I was freaking out. I was paranoid. And I called my mom that next morning on her birthday as soon as the phones come on. I've been awake all night. And so I call her, and she's not answering the phone. So I call her all day long. She's not answering the phone. And like, I just sit over there in my bunk. I'm like, it's my mom's birthday. And she won't even answer the phone for me. Mm. And the reason that is because she knows I'm sitting in jail, probably getting high. Like, everything just weighed on me at that point, May 22nd. And I was like, Matt, you've got to stop. Like, you have got to stop. This is going to kill you. Like, if you get back out, you can't figure this out, you're screwed. And so these people came and talked to me about going to a treatment center. It was like 28 days. And I was like, no, don't let me out of here until you can get me somewhere for at least 6 months, 4 to 6 months, or I'm not leaving. Yeah. I cannot do a 30-day or a detox. I can't do it. So they ended up coming back with a place called Volunteers of America, which was it wasn't ideal. It wasn't an ideal place. You had bunk beds. They were hard. You woke up early. You done chores. It was not the place that anybody else would just volunteer to go. But I was grateful that it was a long-term treatment, that I had time to get myself together. And not only that, I had time to figure out what I'm going to do when I get out. Right. Because I see a lot of times I would go to these 30-day treatments, and then I would get out and I would just be ready to take over the world. And then guess what? I didn't learn anything. I learned how to not use drugs at that moment. Mm-hmm. So at this 4 to 6 month program, I go in there and I keep my head down and I stay focused. I do what I'm supposed to do. I don't get in any trouble. I'm learning about me. And it got to the point to where I was getting ready to get out. And I'm like, look, I've got a few other things that I need to get set up before you just let me go. Right. And they had never even heard of somebody saying something like that. Like, I can't leave here until I have everything in place. I'm not walking out these doors without a place to go or without a job. Like, I'm not doing that. I know what that does for me. And I hate that it took me so long, and I wish I could get through to people like over at our place at Legends. Like, if I can just get through to you and explain to you without you having to go through it, it would be amazing. Yeah. But a lot of people have to live through it, and I know I was one of those people. So I got all my ducks in a row, and I was going to go to this place called Oxford House. I didn't know a whole lot about it. I just knew it was really nice houses. A couple of my friends had went there. But I'd done some research on it, and it said like 87% of the people that stayed in Oxford House for a year or longer would stay successful. And I was like, man, that's a huge number.
That is.
Like, they're telling me in this treatment center that I have a 2% chance to make it. 2% is not a very big percent. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not very
You're going
good
the other way. But
yeah, I don't have very good odds. Like, because I was in there with some people that probably wasn't going to make it, and I was in there with a lot of people that looked like they were really going to make it. So me being one of those 2% was slim to none. So I was like 87% for a year. I don't have anywhere else to go. Let's see what's up. So I go to this. Finally get out 2 weeks later, and I go to this Oxford House, and I'm like, "Where's the case manager? Somebody I need to talk to?" And they're like, "It's us. It's a completely self-run, self-supporting. There was no authority figure in the house." And I was like, "This ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work for me." And so the minute I started getting a little loose and thinking about whatever I was thinking about doing, my peers pull up on me and they're like, "Look, bro, you ain't doing that here." Oh. And they were ready to kick me out. I was going to be homeless. I had nowhere else to go. Yeah. So I had to get my act together. So I'm attending 5-6 meetings a week. I'm walking to work. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm paying my rent. And then 6-7 months go by and I'm helping other people. I'm helping other houses, these Oxford houses. I'm helping them get off the ground. I'm helping them learn the model, whatever that taught me. And then a year comes by and it dawned on me, like, I've been here a year. I've not stayed this sober in a long time. Like, I'm not just clean. I'm working a program of recovery. I'm helping people. I'm seeing, the things that I've put, all the work that I've put into it. I'm finally seeing, fruit from it. Yeah. And so I lived there for about a year, and they came to me and was like, "Look, would you like a job, with Oxford House?" And I was like, "Absolutely. This place saved my life." So I got involved with Oxford House. I moved to Dayton, Ohio, and life at that point, I still didn't have a driver's license. I still had, a fine I had to pay, and I lied to my work to tell them that I had a driver's license and all this just to get the job. But I'd had a car, a little nice car that I finally got from a buy here, pay here, and paid way too much money for. And I was driving down the road, and it just hit me. I was sober about a year and a half, and it just this, I don't know, just overflowing of just gratitude came over me. And I was like, I'm not just clean. I'm living a sober life. It's not like I'm in a treatment center or I've got people over top of me making sure I'm doing this. I'm doing this by choice. And I was just so grateful for that opportunity to feel that at that moment. So I continued opening Oxford houses throughout the state of Ohio. And it led me to meet Nate, Kellmeyer, and turned out to be one of my best friends. We started golfing together, and he came to me one day and he was like, "What would it take for you to come work for me at Legends?" And I was like, "You ain't getting me from Oxford House. This is my life." And but I did notice, like, the people that were coming to Oxford House wasn't getting this treatment that I would like to see people get. It was like 30 days. All right, what kind of insurance you got? All right, we can't bill for that. You can't do that. We can bill for that. You can do that. And it was just disturbing to me, to the point, like, I was seeing people get out and they didn't even have an ID. They didn't have any kind of plan of what they were going to do. They were moving to this Oxford House with no job, no thoughts of a job. It's just like, well, who's going to pay for this for me? You know what I mean? And it was just, and that's what I want to see with Legends. We'll get to that in a second. So I started hanging out with Nate, and he asked me, what it would take. So the more we talked, the more I thought about it. And, I wanted to move forward in the career that I wanted. And so I came on with Nate at Legends Recovery and came at the ground. It was ground level. We had to end up building the place. Yeah. Me and another guy, Corey, the ops director at the Detox. So we ended up building this place, and I could envision it, though. While we were building, I could just see us helping other people. And it was just an amazing feeling, thinking that people are going to come in here just hopeless, and they have an opportunity while they're here to change that. And I don't just say it because I read about it in a book. Yes. I say it because I've done it. You know, I don't tell you because I think it, I tell you because I know it. And the thought of seeing those people change their lives, whether they do or not, they may not be one person be successful, but if one does, it was worth it. And all I could think about was just seeing people get reunited with their families. Just, you know, it was just an overwhelming feeling. Then we have the outpatient facility that we just opened. And that's another step. You know, that's we have housing. You know, that'll give them that extra 30 days to figure out what they're going to do next. And like I said, nobody may get any of it. But if one person can get reunited with their family and never touch a drug again, how amazing. And yeah, man, that's kind of my summary how I got to Legends. I guess I'll explain what Legends is. So we are a Medicaid detox in Green Springs, Ohio, right outside of Fremont. We're a 40-bed male and female Medicaid detox. For the first few months, we were commercial due to Medicaid issues, but now we can take Medicaid. And we have the PHP, IOP, and outpatient program here in Maple Heights with housing. And our housing is under renovation right now, but within the next 6 months to a year, we should have close to 65 beds available for men and women in recovery. Yeah, it's moving quickly. It's a whole lot faster than I thought it would, and I'm excited. I'm excited to help people.
Yeah. Having been through numerous processes in and out, can you maybe stress, maybe again, or reiterate how important not only the detox is, but then getting the treatment and then having that opportunity to figure things out? You gave the example the other day about, you know, hey, I want to be a truck driver, and you're like, do you have your CDL? Do you know how to drive a truck? And you're going through all the steps. Can you just the process, how important that is, what you're doing?
It's super important for these to detox, obviously.
But that's only a portion.
That's the very first of it. Like my choice was detox in jail. There was really not a whole lot of choice. The resources you have today, like you can go to places like Legends Recover with your own TV. It's kind of awkward for me to even think that that's available for people, like me, but it is. And that right there is a spot for you to just lay down, not have your phone, not talk to your parents, not talk to your kids. And I hate to sound like that, but the kids have got to be to the side right now. You are no good to those kids. And it's just let them heal for a little bit. That's 7 to 10 days for you to just work on you to get your body halfway functioning right, but it don't stop there. You need at least another 30 to 60 days to focus on what you're going to do next, because the circle is you go to detox, you go to some sort of residential treatment, and then guess what? You get right back out at your house. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be a whole lot of planning in between that circle, or guess what? You're right back at the same spot. The same people that you left that sold you the drugs that made you want to go to rehab are still waiting right there. If you don't have a plan in action, you're doomed. Know what you want to do. Don't just go to your case manager's office every Monday and say, oh yeah, man, things are great. I want to be a CDCA. I want to be a peer support. Have realistic expectations. Have short-term and long-term goals, and meet those goals. Don't try to get the long-term goal before you get the short-term goal. Work those goals. Have a plan for sure. It's very important.
That was one of the things that blew me away was, like I said, that whole circle. There's not pieces missing. And while, like I said, if you can reach one person and have that reunited feeling with the family, but you're giving them the opportunity. So regardless of they walk in, they have that full circle opportunity. It's up to them whether they kind of go through that. But what you're offering is that full circle. You're not just offering just a detox or just the treatment in between and then additional time. You have that all together, and I think that's something that I don't say it's unheard of, but it's very innovative. And I'm glad you're doing it. I know with I had 5-day inpatient stay at hospital, and then I went to some group therapy. I have a very supportive family, but I didn't have, and maybe because I had this supportive family and they were with me, and I was afraid to drive, so like my parents are driving me, but it's like real, like people go, wait, you're afraid to drive? Like, yeah, like I was on the way to dinner with my, at that time, fiance. I was blacking out because I wasn't eating enough food because my body was telling me that I was allergic to food. Because I had all these guilt and shame things in my head, and all these dominoes, and so to have and so I wasn't kind of given that opportunity to have that full circle. So in a way, I had to work through things. So yeah, like medication, that might work. The therapy part, that might work, but where do you want to go? Like, what do you want to do after? It's like you're going to school, you're getting your education, you want to be an attorney. Okay, have you done an internship? Like, there's still other steps.
Do you know what an internship is?
Exactly.
It's huge to have realistic expectations. And I'm not bashing on anybody for the lifestyles that they choose or how they choose it. But if you come in and you want to be a lawyer, you may want to make sure you have the clothes to be a lawyer. If you don't, get you a job that will pay you enough to get you at least one suit, a tie, and go into wherever it is that you're applying for, and go in and just look at the place, see how everybody else is dressed. Dress like them. If there's somebody that you want to be like, dress like them, act like them. It's that simple.
And even so, on that point, you have a spot where you're gonna have clothing, donation available, where people are going through. So it's not just talking the talk. You're actually like, oh, okay, you're going through the process. You're checking the boxes that you need. You need that suit. You might need that pantsuit.
We've had so many people come in and do tours, and almost every single group that's came in, and we told them about the clothing closet we were going to do, has volunteered to give us as many clothes as we need. Like they said, we have an abundant amount of dress clothes, nice clothes that you can have. The resources are out there. Yeah. It's when I get lazy when I don't reach the resources. Like I don't reach out to people that will help me. It's because I'm lazy. I don't want to go out and get it, and that came natural to me to just be like, it's a whole lot easier to be a loser than it is a winner. It's so much easier to sit back and be like, I don't feel like doing that. I don't want to go to work today. I just want to play Xbox. I just want to lay in bed. It's so much easier to do that. But recovery's not hard. Recovery's not the easiest thing I've ever done, but it's not hard. I lived in a tent. It is not hard for me.
And you were inviting people.
I was inviting people. I had a nightstand in my tent. You know what I mean? I lived in that tent. And it's just so crazy when I hear people say, man, it's so hard. Your life wasn't bad enough. If this is hard, your life wasn't bad enough. Go get another taste. It gets worse. I promise you. But I got to be careful saying stuff like that to people today because the drugs today is killing them. Yeah. You can be smoking weed and have fentanyl in it. It's crazy that people would even consider doing this. I don't know if you ever remember, there's like a county fair, they would have this bike that the steering wheel wasn't connected and the wheel would just kind of turn. You had to try to ride it across. It's almost impossible. And I kind of compared that to like the drugs these days. It's like, I wouldn't try to ride that bike down the street. Oh. It's going to kill you. Yeah. And, but I see people every single day. I'm working with a guy right now. Me and my fiance have been working with this guy. And he just will not get it. He's overdosed like 4 times last week. Oh. Just so happened he's smart enough to do it around places that'll find him. He overdosed at Kroger. They find him just random places overdosed. And people just cannot see that, man. It's just so crazy. Like I'm not going to go jump off a bridge that doesn't have water under it. Right. That's what you're doing. You're jumping off a bridge onto a train track. It's mind blowing to me that's even a problem is the opioid epidemic. Like it's killing everyone. Everything you touch has fentanyl in it, and it will kill you. Yeah. It's a different world. Thank God I got out before it got this bad.
Yeah. So being incarcerated, what were some of like the learnings? Because it sounded like you had that drive for the attention, and I know I have too. And when I was born, my late grandpa, we call him Grandpa White House. He lived in a White House, but he would say, I don't remember how old I was, but he'd say, "Oh, do you have a girlfriend?" And he's like, when you were born, how they had the room set up, there must have been like, I was like the only boy baby, and then there was like girls around. So he just like took that and went with it. As far as how are you doing, and do you have a girlfriend? With the drugs, there is that. If the person just thinks, there's fentanyl in it, whether there is or not, that's probably easier said than done. What do you say to somebody that has gotten in trouble, that was incarcerated? What are maybe like some of the learnings besides like don't do it that you got to, like somebody maybe
So I see what you get. We talked about that. I forgot we had that conversation too. So there was a guy that was in there I was incarcerated with, and he was telling me, and and he was in a gang, in a white supremacist gang, and I remember just talking to him a lot because he'd been doing this a long time, and right when I was getting out, he would come in and he would. He just always had so much wisdom. I didn't agree with a lot of their beliefs, but I would listen to him because he was so he was just on point with everything. And he said, "Matt, if you get out of here and do the exact same thing that you've done to get in here, you're coming right back." And I was like, I don't know what to do. Like how I didn't, I wasn't that bad of a person. I didn't feel like. And he's like, you got to change everything. He's like, you've changed since you've been in here. You become a criminal. Oh. He's like, your demeanor's changed. He said, you come in here, this happy-go-lucky kid that was just, just amazed at how this stuff works. And he's like, and now you're fighting. You're becoming somebody that you don't want to be. And he told me one word to change, and it kind of set off a spiral. And it was like, if you can change the word police in your vocabulary to cop or police officer, he said, you got a good start at it. And it didn't make sense to me at first, and I wish I would have listened to all the stuff that he had said, but I didn't until it was too late. And I was sitting there thinking, like, what all was it that he said? Because everything he told me was coming true because I wasn't listening. And that was one thing I remembered. And if you'll notice, like, people that are in trouble a lot, they say police. Police is here. I'm going to call the police. You know what I mean? Like that's the phrase that you hear a lot. I guarantee you that girl in there doesn't say police. I guarantee you she says police officer. That's what we're supposed to do. And so I tried to change everything about my vocabulary, how I handled myself. I try not to curse a lot, and I've done really good on this.
You're doing awesome.
No, I don't think I said one curse word.
Not.
And that's I had to picture my mom in the room. She's never heard me cuss maybe 3 times.
She's still here for a few minutes.
So I knew she may watch this. So yeah, man, I just changed everything about the way I handle myself, the way I treat other people. It's a golden rule, man. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And that's kept me out of trouble. I drove by Toledo. Used to, I would drive by jails and I would look at it and be like, I bet I'll know what it looks like inside. I would like play it back to myself, like, I remember driving by here thinking, I wonder what it looks like inside there. And then when I moved to Toledo and opened the auction house there, I drove by the jail. And I was going there to, network, market, whatever, talk to somebody. And I said, I'll never see the inside of one of those cells. And man, another feeling of just overwhelming happiness just filled me. I'll never see the inside of that jail, and I won't. As long as I don't do drugs or pick up a drink, I've never been in trouble for anything else. Drinking and drugs have always been the key of my problems. So yeah, I'll never see the inside of that jail, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, the feeling that you would get with substances, that euphoric, that high, whatever that feeling, versus you're talking about the gratitude and the helping others, the feeling you get of saying, if I can help one person, how similar or different are those feelings? It's
a different feeling. I don't know how to explain the feeling. I kind of refer to the feeling of the euphoria, the drugs. Like whenever you would do it, it was kind of like you're driving down a road, it's pouring the rain, and you drive under an underpass, and that moment of silence, that one moment, that's all you get, but all the rain stops. and then your windshield wiper starts squeaking for a second.
Yeah.
That moment right there is what they felt like to me. And then it starts raining again, and then it's chaos all over again. But with the gratitude that I feel for helping people, or seeing me in the mirror, you're like, yeah, I've gained 100 pounds, so what? But just seeing me be me, it's just it's unbelievable, that feeling, and just knowing where I came from, knowing where this person is right now, and where he could be in 5 years. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's two completely opposite feelings, but I can see where they could be the same, but it's a whole lot longer of a feeling helping people than it is putting a needle in my arm.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think of how the lived experience, what you do, what we do, helping others. How important do you think that is for, not only legends, but just somebody who is thinking that that's what they want to do, and they're like, you know what, I don't have that degree yet. They're working on it, and they're like, but I got these 20 years of this type of lived experience.
I would love to say that I went to college for 4 years, graduated from UK. I would love to say that. I never stepped a foot in a college. I make more money than I would have ever made if I would have went to college, probably. Mm-hmm. Our executive director, Nate, he didn't go to college. He started as a tech at a rehab, checking beds, and now he's executive director of 2 huge facilities. Both of our ops directors are in recovery. 80% of our staff's in recovery with multiple years. Nate's getting ready to celebrate 15 years. He's going back to the detox to talk to the residents there. Like, it's possible. I'm not saying don't go to college. I would definitely, if you can, do it. I just missed so many years that it wasn't. It probably still could be an option if I wanted to do it. But I think it's very important for the people to be in recovery that you're working with. It's not that people don't respect the people that aren't in recovery, but it's just like a bad kid. You ain't my daddy. You ain't never done this before. You don't know what I'm going through. And
you're reading out a book.
I hear it so much, but I respect counselors and therapists that don't live this, that still want to be involved with helping people. It blows me away that God makes people that way. I had to work a 12-step program to be able to help other people. To even want to help other people, to see that my selfishness is what kills me, so I need to help somebody else. And there's people out here that want to do it just to help other people. Yeah. And they went to school because their dad used to beat their mom because of his drug use or his alcoholism. No, they don't know what we go through, and they're still here to help you. Yeah. They didn't live through this lifestyle and still pick this line of work to help other people that don't have to go through it anymore. It blows me away. I think it's important to have some lived experience, but I think it's also important to have people that doesn't know step by step and are still involved in helping people. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah. As an instructor at a college and helping students not just get through the book part of the class, but bringing as much experiential learning, that lived experience. And I find that more students remember those experiences that I talk about. They're not going to remember, okay, here's the definition.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to Google that when they get out. But they're going to be like, you know what? I've had this professor, and he was part of this organization, and he went to Poland to help refugees from Ukraine, or whatever the story is.
Yeah.
Those are the things they're going to remember, and that's why I think having that lived experience, it's not the end all be all, but you're bringing that, you're having a conversation, like you said. It's like, okay, well, have you been through that? You're telling me to do this. You're just talking about the book. Have you done it?
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. And I think that personal branding, regardless of if somebody does go to college or goes through the trades or whatever their journey is, you still have that personal brand. Your personal brand for going after college is, well, I went to college, and here are things I learned, here's my portfolio, and here's my volunteer experience. And then somebody like yourself, immediately having some of that lived experience, you're bringing that to the table. That's your personal brand, and that's not a bad thing. It's huge. You have that regardless of who you are or where you path you go?
Yeah, I don't think I would have changed it. I really don't. I share, like I said, I'm involved in AA, and I share about that in a meeting. Like, I don't know if I would go back and not have lived the life I lived. I really don't. Like, when I say I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and drug addict, I'm grateful. I am grateful for the path that God seen fit, whatever it may be. Whatever the reason that I went through, all the things that I went through, there was a reason for it. And if it's helping, hundreds of people, men and women, get back with their children and live another day, then I'm grateful I went through it.
Yeah, that's amazing because, and that's what, just helping one person.
Yeah.
You're not just helping really that one person, it's all the people around them too. It's like you're helping that person.
It's attractive.
And and it's like, oh my gosh, and then it's attractive, and then people say like, oh my gosh, like he went through it, she went through it, but they're coming out on the other end. Yeah, it might take 10 years, it might take 2 years, it might take 6 months. Everybody's different, but you can have that hope.
You can get out of it. Yeah.
And you can have fun. You still can have fun, and you're spending your energy on helping and those types of things versus.
And it's not just like I stay in an AA meeting. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's not like I just stay here. I just stay here with my nose in the corner and think, all right, what am I going to do next? I can't be sober.
Right.
Me and my fiance, we travel almost every weekend. We go somewhere. We do something every single night. We never sit at home. I go to meetings because they saved my life. But we're going camping down in Hocking Hills at the last weekend. We decided not to do Christmas with each other. We're just going to go on a vacation. I just don't drink or do drugs. I don't wake up with a hangover. I don't worry about if it's got fentanyl in it. You know what I mean? Like, I just live life.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, man.
So Legends Recovery, can you maybe summarize for the audience again, just what is Legends? What are the offerings? In this episode, will be airing in a month or two. So some of more of the services, some things might be coming online by that point.
Yeah. So hopefully there's beds available in March. It's taking off really fast. We our detox, like I said, was 7-day detox. And then we have the option to go to, it's medically detoxed. It's a taper before you leave. As of right now, the Legends Treatment Center here in Maple Heights is Sublocade only. Sublocade, Vivitrol. We're not going to do any kind of MAT other than that as of right now.
Could you just say what MAT is for somebody who might not?
Medically assisted treatment, MAR, medically assisted recovery, I guess they call it now.
Yeah.
Which I support that. Whatever keeps you sober, whatever keeps you from stealing from your parents or alive. We have an amazing therapist there now. He's going to be doing the EMDR.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen that really crack a lot of people, man. It's an amazing program, and he's an amazing guy, and we're looking forward to that. We're going to have art therapy. We're going to have music therapy. We're going to have a gymnasium with weights, the treadmills. It's a big facility. We have a whole lot of room to fill a whole lot of space. Yeah.
Yeah. When you were showing us around each room, it's just like, oh my God, we could do yoga. We have the space, and it's more of what else can we do instead of we
can't do that.
We can't do that.
Yeah. So we're open to any kind of outside. You guys were talking about maybe coming in and helping out with some groups, or Rebecca was. We're looking forward to working with anyone. We're just now getting it off the ground, and the future's bright. I know that, and I can't wait to see what it holds.
Yeah. So how can people get a hold of Legends, you?
So they can call my number. It's 419-509. Give my person.
We can put in the show notes. You can say we give a call, and then I'll put it.
It's 419-455-5009, or you can call the office at 419-34. I don't know if I can.
You don't have to.
I gave him my personal number. Can you edit that?
We won't put that in the show. Yeah, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
we'll just put the first number there.
Okay.
419-455-5009.
Yeah.
That's the number. Yeah. I won't put personal number.
Yeah. That's what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And, so what are you the happiest about with Legends, with where you're at in life, of where you've come from? You really had a brand new day in it's a brand new days. It's day after day
Yeah,
because you're just continuing.
I couldn't pinpoint what the greatest moment. You know what I mean? Like it's just.
And that's good.
Yeah,
because it's just ongoing.
And I'm not saying like life's great every single day. It's not. I deal with tragedy. I deal with friends dying. I deal with family members dying. I just live a normal life, and it just gets better and better every day. Some days not as good as the next one may be, but life gets better every day. But coming up on 4 years sobriety, and everybody says, "Oh, you're on a pink cloud." If a pink cloud lasts 4 years, keep it going.
Keep it going.
If that's the pink cloud, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, life's been rough. I've had moments where I've thought that a drink sounded like a good idea. I quickly talked myself out of it, obviously. But yeah, there's days, man, it's just I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. There's days that I'm sad, but I get up and I do what I did yesterday. I stay sober another day, and then tomorrow, all that stuff that was bothering me the day before is gone.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really pinpoint what the greatest moment is.
And it's ongoing.
Yeah.
It's not like.
And I don't say that just because to say that.
Yeah,
like,
you're not just throwing it out.
My life really gets better every single day. Like it really does. I try to do the next right thing. I try to help people when they need. I try not to be so selfish and egotistical. I try not to.
Yeah.
But I'm a guy, and I golf. I picked up golf last year. Not that good, but I like to play.
Yeah, gets out.
It's but I would have never dreamed of me playing golf. You know what I mean? It's just like all those things that I used to see people do, like, man, I wish I had a car, or man, I wish I had a place to live, or man, I wish I did that. I'm doing it.
You're doing it.
Now I look at me and say, man, I'm glad I'm me. You know what I mean? It's just, I still have people that inspire me, but there ain't nobody I'd rather be today. I don't look at somebody and say, I wish I was them. I'm glad I'm me. I'm inspired by a lot of people that I try to stay in their footsteps. Nate, for instance, I look up to him, and one day I want somebody to do the same to me. But right now I'm comfortable with me.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be me.
What was it? This just came to my mind. What was it like when you went from calling your mom on her birthday, not picking up, to?
I take her out to eat today.
Yeah.
Used to, I would always go over and I would always make her pay for the food.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first times I did that. Not this 3 Christmases ago, 2 Christmases ago, was the first time I was able to come back around. And like I said, my stepdad was a cop. He ended up passing away. And right before he passed away, we were going to make amends with each other. And just so happened he wasn't able to be there for that Christmas. But I got to go back, and I was able to buy gifts for my family. I got stressed out over it, though. I was super overwhelmed. I took my mom out to eat, and I'll pay for her food sometimes. It's just, it's amazing, man. Being that bum that call my mom for $20 and come up with the most bodacious lie you can imagine. Car wheel fell off a car and went through a car behind me, and the guy says give him $20, he won't sue me. Just anything I could say to get $20, knowing she's like, there's no way this has happened, but here, if you say it happened, it happened. Here's your $20. And I don't have to do that anymore. I don't, and I'm grateful for that as well. But yeah, it's been a big difference. Her not answering the phone on her birthday to me taking her out to dinner.
That's awesome.
Huge.
Wow. Well, I think that concludes our time. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I know our audience is going to pick so many nuggets, and you're so descriptive. You talk about vulnerable times, and I think that one of the important things is saying, I'm still a human. I'm still going through things.
Yeah.
There's good days. There's not as good days. Everything's not the greatest.
Don't live in a tent. Yeah. I'm not inviting you over to my tent.
You're not inviting them to 10. You're able. Your mom's picking up. It's just all of the things that life, that we don't take for granted. That we're like, oh, okay, like this is I can actually put my emotional energy towards this instead of coming up with the story and,
Yeah.
and those things. Yeah, we're very, very grateful that you're able to join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Anytime. I'm looking forward to the future with you guys.
Absolutely, we are as well. Do you or someone you know shop on Amazon.com? If so, please consider choosing Voices for Voices for your charity of choice through the Amazon Smile program. We have the easy-to-follow instructions at voicesforvoices.org/Amazon-smile. There are 0 fees, and it's 100% free to do. Both things that I like. No fees, free to do, easy to do. Thank you, as always, for joining us for this episode of the Voices for Voices podcast. And a huge thank you for our guest today, Matt Oakes from Legends Recovery. We're just thrilled to have you share your wisdom, your lived experience, and I know you're going to help more than one person through this podcast. Until next time, I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices, host and humanitarian. We hope you have a great day, and please be a voice for yourself or somebody in need.